like every alternating scene in the film, we ramp down for another discussion about these women's sex lives. And we learn some neat little tidbits like this.
Je me caresse souvent. Parfois jusqu'à 10-15 fois par jour.
Which makes you wonder when she finds the time to eat.
This goes on and on and on, but to summarize, Charlotte is highly sexual because she had an affair with her mother's boyfriend when she was young and underage, and this attempt to deepen her character has just resulted in exploring the loose girls have daddy issues cliché.
Il est vrai que du haut de tes 21 ans, t'as dû avoir de longues et longues amours.
Ha! I love sarcasm. That was sarcasm, right? Because, I mean, I'm 24 and I... Moving on!
As we segue into a scene where he goes home to his wife, the important thing to remember is that these sessions are solely for audition and research purposes, and there's certainly no way that Francois is getting any sort of pleasure. He came home with a boner. Well, of course he's getting off on all this. Come to think of it, you might wonder why the Angels are so keen to keep this going.
Alors, où tu en es?
Oh, quite pleasantly, thank you.
Rappel, les petits démons bleus ont l'ordre de ne pas pondre sur leurs aimés avant la grande hécatombe.
10-4, Pigpen, this here's a rubber duck and I'm about to put the hammer down. Now, I assume you can all guess why toying with people like this for a questionable artistic reason is bad, but it's worse when you bring in the possibility that he's toying with people who are mentally unstable.
Je suis des fois possédée par le démon.
Now, of course, it's possible that one of the women who sued Brosseau was mentally unstable, but what's more disturbing about this is that Brosseau thought the women who charged him were mentally unstable. Well, either that or complete horn dogs.
Je m'imagine que j'y fais l'amour avec 3 hommes à la fois. Peut-être même 5.
D'accord pour les 3 premiers, mais pourquoi les 2 autres?
Il me reste demain.
Forgive me for being skeptical. It's just that I never really trusted a male writer to convincingly portray female sexuality on screen. At least not since Showgirls.
By the way, this woman is named Stephanie. She's the waitress who chose not to speak up when she spotted the 2 women, sampling the finger food in the restaurant. She's yet another woman who gets in on this thing.
Allez, vous prenez votre caméra et on y va. Vous savez, je commence à avoir envie de vous.
Why yes, what a nice line for Brosseau to write. He's the director!
They organize a meeting at a hotel room where all 3 women can meet each other for the first time.
Les étoiles fantômes doivent désormais inonder les verts océans déserts 2 fois.
Jimmy Mudbutt, you do realize that you just gave me the go-ahead to kill the president of Uzbekistan, do you not? 10-4 on that good, buddy. So Stephanie starts masturbating, and the other 2 walk in.
And unfortunately, we come to a scene which will cause about half of you to immediately seek this out. Shame on you.
So, yeah, lesbian 3-way. And it's every bit as graphic as softcore will allow. Yes, this is the scene the director will have replaying in his head forever. The 90s synth strings give the scene a kind of ironic undertone. A cheesy one at that. Actually, it kind of sounds like Richard Norton and Cynthia Rothrock are having a showdown in the next room.
I'm taking you to the bank, Richard. The blood bank.
You stole that line from Seagal.
You've stolen worse. You stole my husband's life when you blew up his car with that explosively rigged wheelchair.
I thought I was your husband.
Well,
What's going on?
What, you don't see them doing that?
That's all. We could just stop and watch.
How can they even fit that many on the bed?
How come they have better lighting than us?
I don't know, but... Hey, that's not fair!
Later, while looking over the footage with his wife... God, give this woman a medal. The Angels work their plot-advancing powers so Francois gets a phone call. He discovers that, guess what, toying with people's emotions and desires is bad, since Stephanie has fallen in love with Charlotte, and his wife says that he's asking for trouble. And the Angels... well, as always, no comment.
Pourquoi t'es toujours si triste?
I'm not sad. I'm French.
Les astres émaillaient le ciel profond et sombre. Le croissant fin éclair parmi ces fleurs de l'ombre brillait à l'Occident.
That was a passage from Victor Hugo.
I think this film is self-important enough without quoting great literature. After all, the mark of a man of the world is the absence of pretension. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said.
Well, long story short, the shoot ends like this.
Oh, stop right there, stop right there. See him? See him? Yeah, that guy? That's the director. Not this actor, this photogenic, mature guy with kind of a French, soft, Anthony Stewart head thing going on, but this guy. This guy cast this guy to play himself. Do you understand my anger?
So after calling herself the Devil's Beloved or something, Charlotte gets fired and Stephanie quits.
Tout ça, c'est profondément ta faute.
Était-il vraiment nécessaire d'enfoncer le clou?
Well, every other woman in this film has been rubbing it in.
After that, he replaces them with that porn star from before and finishes the film. And all three women moved away and changed phone numbers.
No!
The film was a success. Yes, thank you for showing us another lesbian three-way. That is so necessary. But he's still unsatisfied with his mission.
Pourquoi le sexe déclenchait-il à ce point violence et hypocrisie à propos de faits relevant au fond de la tempête dans un verre d'eau?
Because sex, for human beings, is a high-risk, high-stakes game that provides not only the promise of physical satisfaction and emotional security, but also the promise that your DNA will be passed on to another generation. It is because of these high stakes that it becomes such a competitive enterprise, and the reason society has so many taboos, regulations, and passions surrounding it. There. I solved your movie, you insensitive asshat!
And just like in real life, he's arrested, gets a suspended prison sentence, wife leaves him, and all that plus threats. Now go away or we shall pet our pussies in front of you a 20-second time. Sometime later, he meets Julie in the park. She's still willing to talk to him. Which makes perfect sense. After all, she's the one with the associate producer credit. And she also gets a monologue which tries to sum up everything that happened.
La vérité, c'est que j'ai fui.
T'as fait quoi?
Toi.
Well, obviously. The man practically molested three women without touching them.
Tu t'es d'ailleurs jamais rendu compte de rien. Je veux dire des choses graves. Par exemple, que tu te faisais complètement manœuvrer par toutes tes nanas.
Wait. She might have a point there. I mean, all three of them were pretty desperate for a role, so they would probably play on his desires. Huh. And that one girl who did porn did say earlier that...
Les comédiens, on est tous des putes pour décrocher le rôle dont on a envie.
So perhaps this whole thing really was a power game played with emotions and desires. Perhaps. But what she says next, this thing so lovingly underscored by sense strings, really makes me doubt that.
T'es tombée amoureuse de moi.
Mon Dieu. Pourtant, je suis certaine que tu le fais même pas exprès.
Mais c'était si violent que ça.
Probablement chez les autres filles aussi. T'as déclenché des choses violentes, profondes. C'est pour ça que tout a si mal fini.
It's not your fault. You just get women so emotional. That's why it ended badly. This guy wrote a self-insert harem fanfic explaining away his charges of sexual harassment as his natural charm causing a bunch of women to get all emotional. Merde!
Oh, shut up! Fucking dipshit went out to his own sexist bullshit, so we meant a scenario where, ooh, they all love me too much. Oh, sexuality is so complex. God, this is just...
That's a bit harsh.
Pourquoi tu l'as sauvé? T'es quand même pas tombée amoureuse de lui?
Quand bien même.
Yes, of course, even the angels can't resist his charm.
Francois in a wheelchair and Grandma comes back. Fiend.
This is... Okay, ignore all the fake theological overtones and think about why this movie was made.
Jean-Claude Rousseau makes an erotic thriller by asking women to masturbate on camera for him. He gets punished for it. So he decides to make a movie exploring his feelings about it. Okay, makes sense. Tough time in his life, probably wanted to think it through for a while. But then he makes a movie full of male fantasy porn for which he definitely harassed even more actresses to answer questions about why this situation arose.
And after all that softcore soul-searching, the answer Rousseau gives boils down to... It's not my fault they loved me so much. I just exude this warm charm that makes them open up and get all emotional and...
You know, I don't know if anyone in this film is meant to be sympathetic, but it's certainly not this man who took his very real and very valid accusations of sexual harassment and turned them into a masturbatory fantasy.
Jean-Claude Rousseau, fuck you.
Well, I'm taking you to the bank, Richard. The blood bank. Da-da-da-da-da-da.